starts, and you can see my presentation screen, I guess.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, so let's go. So let's start with the presentation of today's webinar. Just a few things before we start with today's topic about the organization of this web meeting. So first, you can see the chat on the right side of your screen. You can ask questions in the chat. We will collect everything and answer it to you directly afterwards. And you will see that everybody is muted here. The reason is very simple. We have many participants today in the webinar, and you know, if we hear everybody's background noise, etc., it will be very difficult to follow. So we decided to mute everybody, and to respect the time frame we have and the promise to you, we just want you to ask questions in chat, and yeah, we will come back to you later. Also, we received some questions before the presentation that we took into account, and we will have a short Q&A session after the presentation. So let's go with today's topic, which is why cutting-edge, advanced, and innovative institutions choose LIBNOVA over any other digital preservation platform. Wow, that's a long name, a long title, but you will see every word in the title is worth to be there, and you will see that later in the presentation. So I want to thank Antonio Guillermo Martinez Lago, LIBNOVA's CEO, and Maria Fuertes, LIBNOVA's head of marketing, to take part. Hello to Madrid.
Hello.
Hello.
Nice to have you here. Finally, I would say. I think, Antonio, we know each other for almost a decade now, and I think the first live webinar we do.
That's correct.
So I'm looking forward to it. And I told you before, this webinar and this topic was highly recommended or highly requested. We received many feedback from last year's event that long-term preservation is a hot topic and people want to know more about it. And so, yeah, we decided to have two presentations actually. And yeah, this is the first one today. Before we start, just a few points on the agenda. I will explain a little bit about, you know, what this event is all about. I will give a short introduction about Walter Nagel Company, and then Antonio will and Maria will introduce LIBNOVA to us, and then we go into LIBSAFE in action. I would say, let's see it work, how the software works, and of course, just a short introduction, but you will see a lot of interesting things. We will summarize it in the end, and then, of course, go through a few of questions that we collected before. So what is the Digitalisierungsoffensive, the event that you're taking part today? It's the web event for libraries, archives, and museums, especially in the German-speaking part of Europe, I would say. The idea started last year. Of course, all of us were not able to attend any live events. Everything was canceled, so we decided to bring all the topics to a webinar event and to give customers and prospects a chance to inform themselves about different projects and product news, etc. And we had a great success last year, so we decided to do the same in 2021. So what you see during the event or the webinars, you will see you will get infos about different kind of projects. You will see projects in the field of digitization workflow and presentation of digital collections, web and social media archiving, digitization equipment like archive scanners, book scanners, etc. Like I said before, it is the second edition after 2021, where we had more than 1,300 registrations. And like I said before, the number one topic that was requested is long-term preservation. And this is why we decided to have two presentations this year about this topic, with the first one starting today. You can see all the details, all the topics that we offer, all the webinars we offer, and the option to register on this website. You already received it in the mail invitation you already got. So yeah, if you want to attend any other webinar or this one more time, feel free to register and watch as many webinars as you can. It's all free. About us, about Walter Nagel, just a few sentences about us. So our main goal is to support cultural heritage institutions when it comes to building up a complete digital workflow or to support a digitization project. That means we're starting thinking about the scanning part, but also about the presentation, the workflow, and the long-term preservation of it in the end. Besides website archiving, social media archive, and other topics that has something to do with cultural heritage and the digitization in general. In everything we do, we have one focus. It's automation and productivity combined with high quality. So what you will not find is when you work with us, you will not find any solutions that are very, very cheap, but don't offer, let's say, the high standard, market standard. So every product we offer, if it's a scanning product, a software, or even if it's the service we provide to our clients in terms of counseling, etc. So we always want to go into high quality solutions, and on the other hand, it must be we are searching for a high automation rate with a high productivity for our clients. So we work together with a lot of partners. As we are not a manufacturer, but we are independent from manufacturer. That means that we do not build book scanners. We do not develop software for long-term preservation. So what we do is we search for partners worldwide that are experts in their fields and that they are really concentrating on that topic 24/7. And what we do is, so we build a network from all these people that we can pick on to work on a specific project. So if we need somebody from LIBNOVA for long-term preservation, but on the other hand, the same client has a problem with, let's say, following digitization standards in their digitization center, we can pick from different experts to work with these clients in their projects. We do this now for 35 years in total, and looking for another 35 to go, hopefully. If you want to know more about us or the references, you can go on our website. You will see that we work together with, on the one hand, very big institutions like state archives, national libraries, but also like city archives, which is one person in charge, or a small museum archive, even private companies and private foundations. We work together with, same as museums from different fields like natural history museums, art museums, etc. So the expertise we have is very, very wide, I would say. So this should be it from my part. I thought the next step would be for Antonio to take over and go from here. Antonio, it's your stage.
Thank you. Thank you, Jens, and thank you everyone for finding time for us today and for this presentation. I hope you enjoy, and don't forget to ask questions in the chat. So first, I would like to give you an overview about LIBNOVA. LIBNOVA is a market leader in digital preservation. We are present in 14 countries right now, and here you have some of the customers we are working with. We are working with some of the largest organizations worldwide, like the British Library, for instance, or the National Library of Austria. And we are also working for some of the smallest ones, universities or small archives and libraries. So, for instance, we're working with the University of Oxford, the Stanford University, several national libraries like the National Library in Spain, the British Library, Austria, National Library, the EPFL in Lausanne, and many organizations, cultural heritage related organizations across the world. And our positioning in the market is to deliver the best, to be the first by innovation, to be the most active player in the market. And to do that, we research a lot. So we keep improving our products constantly. And we do that by researching and partnership with many organizations. For instance, we are Digital Preservation Coalition supporters, where we are one of the few private companies that have been accepted as an NDSA member, and we are working in several research-related European projects and processes, researching with them some of the most important organizations research-related organizations worldwide. Our promise to you today, or promise to the market, is for you to have access to the most advanced digital preservation platform. And we have 3 product lines. We have LIBSAFE Go. This is a one-step digital preservation platform. So it's, I would say, no implementation digital preservation platform. So it's something you can get and you can start preserving your content with in no time, in a few days, in a few weeks. It's very easy to get all your content in, and the system is going to keep it properly preserved for the long term and also accessible. We have also LIBSAFE Advanced, which includes everything you will find in Go, plus many automation and advanced capacities. So this is a national library grade digital preservation. So you configure the system to do something for a book, for instance, and you can then ingest several million books, and the system is going to process them following the same automated process you have defined. And then we have LIBNOVA LabDrive. LabDrive is focused on managing and preserving research data. So if you have data sets in your organization, this is something that would be really interesting for you to see. We are going to organize another webinar in the future focusing specifically in the LabDrive product. Every product is serving exactly the same preservation engine. So it's the LIBSAFE preservation technology, and this is very good, especially for smallest organizations, because they can benefit of using the preservation engine the largest organizations in the world are using for preserving their content, and they can use it even if they are really small. This engine and all of our products are fully aligned with OIS, with ISO 14721, are fully aligned with the trust and fair principles, and you can certify them, or you can certify you using this software with ISO 16363. We have been working a lot to streamline this certification process. You could get any of these products in a cloud or on-prem based approach. So you could get them in the Germany-based cloud, or you could deploy it on your own data centers. And you can switch from one license mode to the other. So you can start working in the cloud, and 3 years later, you may decide to better go on-prem, and you can switch. And of course, you can do the opposite. You can start working on-prem and then switch back to the cloud. And switching from one license to the other is also allowed. So many organizations are starting with Go because, yeah, it's really easy to start working with it. And then as they have a better understanding over the years about their needs, or they have a larger collection and they need to have more automation, they can switch to Advanced. And this is a zero migration process. So it's no migration. You just enable the new license, the LIBSAFE Advanced, and instantly all the features for Advanced become active, and you can start using them. So, and why organizations are choosing LIBNOVA over any other digital preservation platform? Well, we can find 3 main reasons. The first one is because this platform is way more advanced than any other platform existing out there. We are going to see it today. The second reason is that our solution is way faster to implement. So you could be running, depending on your project, in a few days, weeks, or even months for the advanced platform, but it is a really fast implementation. We will see that now. And the third main reason is because you have less operational cost. If we look at the more advanced topic, is that so we have a more advanced platform because we are only focused on digital preservation. You find other players that have a whole range of different solutions related to access or related to physical objects management. We don't. We are only focused on digital preservation, and this is why we do it very well. The second point related to the more advanced capability is that we have higher investments in product development than anyone else. So our products, you will see that, are all up to date, are feature rich, use modern architectures, modern interfaces, modern paradigms. We see that many large preservation software systems are not getting updates since 4 years ago, and this is from our perspective, this is unacceptable when you are looking at preservation. And we are more advanced because we are participating in several European Union funded research projects. So we are very active on researching and development, and we convert all these funds into better products and so on. Why this is faster to implement and why this is good? Well, the first one is that the first option is that we have several ways to reach preservation. So some of them are completely out of the box and require no change in your existing content. Some others could reorganize the content and so on, but at least you have some options in which you can get a lift and shift approach. You get everything you have and you place it in the platform, and you have instant protection about for your content. And the second is related to faster implementation, is because unlike other solutions, we have visual interfaces and graphical user interfaces for even complex configuration tasks. You know that for other solutions, at the point you need to do something slightly more complex, you need to mess with XML files, JSON files, Java code, and so on. There is nothing about that in our LIBSAFE technology. Everything has been designed, and we have been paying a lot of attention to make this easy to understand, very well organized, and with the lower possible complexity. And the third point is about the less operational cost. And this is because we have a very innovative pricing. Everyone else is charging by features. We don't. We have all features are very available in the product. Everyone else is charging per user. We are not. Our solutions are unlimited in a number of accounts and users you could create. Our solutions are only based on the volume you preserve. So smaller organizations, usually with smaller collections, are going to pay way less than larger organizations that have more volume and more resources to approach to preservation. But the second point related to having a lower operational cost is related to a more efficient system, more efficient platform to use. So our organizations that are using this platform achieve better results and do it way faster than using other technologies, because of how the products have been defined. So we have user experience experts on board, and every time we design something, we design it keeping in mind how to lower the cognitive load the user is going to need to do something, right? So to do it, to explain everything in advance, to make it clear for the user to understand what is going to happen. And of course, for when you launch a process for the system to give you the best response time, almost immediate in many cases. We pay a lot of attention to this topic. So, well, I forgot. We are so sure that you will easily get starting with our products, that the support we offer is unlimited, and the training we offer is also unlimited. So you can request as many training as you want. And for instance, if new staff is coming to your organization, you can request the staff for this new staff member, and we will train. And again, unlike other offers, we do real training. So it's not like a canned videos for training and some documents. No, It's a trainer that is going to be with you and telling you how to approach how to better use the system. So let's see it working. So I'm going to show you the actual interfaces for the products. Here we have LIBSAFE Go. In LIBSAFE Go, everything is based so you are going to work with the system using just your web browser. So you need nothing, no software to install on your computer. So everything is web-based, and everything is organized around the concept of containers, data containers. Containers are like boxes or buckets in which you can place similar content together, and you can organize them in this kind of archival structure. You can open them. The system is going to give you some insights about what is actually inside your container. So, for instance, it's going to warn you if you have malware, or if you have corrupted files, or if you have even duplicates in this container or system-wide. In the Explore content, you can see what you have actually inside your container, and you can see that this looks familiar to you. We do that in purpose for to be easy for this to be easy to be used by anyone. So anyone that knows how to work with a Windows or Macintosh folder is able to work with this. And you can do exactly the same. You have right click, you can select multiple files, you can copy, paste, open, drag and drop, even from your computer. You can drag and drop content here to get it preserved, and so on. The system, when you drag and drop content into the platform, is going to do certain things. The first one is creating multiple copies and setting the integrity verification for them for a period of time. It is going to create all the integrity information. It is going to characterize all your content. It is going to extract any technical information it is finding in your objects. So if I select this Microsoft Word file, it is going to show me the title, the original creation time, and so on. While if I select this geo-referenced image, it is going to show me the coordinates. If I select this email, it is going to show me the to, from, original date, and so on, right? So the technical information is extracted, all the EXIF information is extracted depending on the format you select. Everything you have here, so everything the system is extracting by itself, plus any metadata you manually add to your objects. Here we can see a Dublin core schema, but you could create any kind of a schema, metadata schema you would like to have. So everything we have here as your metadata, plus anything that is inside the document. So if I open it, you can see that I have OCR. All these things are indexed and are searchable. You can go to the content search and you can search and you get immediate results. So this, you can see that this is 48 milliseconds, so it's almost instantaneous. And you can see that the system is matching your word inside an Excel file, a TXT file, an email, and so on. You can, of course, tell the system where to look. So I would like to search only in my own metadata. You would leave this only selected, or you can filter by collection. I would like to search only in the medical sciences collection or whatever, right? So you have all your collections here. You can even face it by format or by the container or the kind of object or the storage platform in which the content is, right? So it's very handy for you to locate the content you have in the platform. And on top of that, we have support for more than 300 formats for preview. So you don't need to have the software to open many formats. So for instance, any image you have, this JPEG 2000, you can double click and the image is going to open, no problem. But what happens with AutoCAD? I may not have AutoCAD, no problem. I can double click and open this AutoCAD file, or Microsoft Visio, no problem. I don't have Visio, but I can still double click and open this. The same happens for compressed files. So I don't have a software to open a RAR file, but I can double click and see what is inside and so on. So all the formats you usually manage related to any kind of format, TIFF, pyramidal TIFF, multi-page, JPEG, JPEG 2000, and so on are all supported. We have also extensive support for PDF, and we have also support for many camera raw formats in case you are getting this format. So I have a Canon raw format. I don't have the Canon software, but I can double click and open this file, right? So you can see that getting content here is very easy. And when you get content here, it is first instantly protected by making several copies, extracting the integrity information, and verifying this integrity information periodically. So you have all the bit level preservation features there. Second, it is fully indexed, so it is searchable. You can, if you want, you can reorganize it, but you can search for file name, for the file content, even for information that is in the image, right? So it's very easy to find content that you have. And then the third point is that you can run actions or processes over your content. So depending the files you select, all the folders you select, you have a set of actions here to create alternative formats or derivative, or in this case, I'm selecting a bagged file that includes a PST file, an email file. So the system is telling me that I can verify the integrity of this bag or extract the metadata, but I can also export these PXT emails and so on, right? So you have several options available. So this is, well, of course, you have a lot of interesting reports and so on. You can get, and in configuration, you can configure everything by yourself and so on. So advanced. In advanced, we are first. In LIBSAFE Advanced, you have everything you have in Go, right? So everything, all the capability of creating these containers and placing content inside, you also have it in LIBSAFE Advanced. But on top of that, in addition to that, you can, as I said at the beginning, automate a lot your processes. So you have a great tool here that is the in the preservation configuration, you have the preservation areas and plans. And here you have a lot of plugins and microservices you can use. So you have your metadata schemas, or you have preprocessors, or you have ingestion checks, and so on. These are different tools for different purposes, right? We will see that later. And you can combine all of them in a single policy. In the preservation plans. Of course, you could have more than one policy. I'm going to create one. And the system is going to ask me for the name. It's going to ask me, yeah, for all this content that you are going to link to this policy, what is the metadata schema you want to use, right? So I have several tests here and so on, but out of the box, you have Dublin Core, MAR21, EAD, mods. I'm forgetting like 4 or 5 additional metadata schemas, but you can also create your own or extend the ones you have and so on. Then you tell the system how to get the metadata, how to create the thumbnail, how many copies of your content and where do you have do you want those copies. For instance, if I would like to have one copy in the Boston data center and another copy in my Washington, D.C. data center, I just need to add those elements here, and everything I ingest using this policy, the system is going to make one copy here and one copy there. And you can create as many copies as you want in other platforms. So another one in Amazon S3, for instance, and you have it. So it's very easy to manage this. Sanitizers are used to clean your object, so delete unwanted files. Preprocessors are really powerful for doing, so imagine a use case in which you are ingesting some TIFF images, and you would like for every object that you ingest just as a TIFF as a set of these TIFF images, you want for the system to create a PDF in black and white with a watermark, for instance. So you would like to have this process to create an additional PDF. You could create this as a preprocessor, and the system Every time you ingest one object, it's going to apply this process to your objects. Or you would like to, for instance, you may be ingesting audiovisual content, and you would like to get your transcription for the voice that is in the video. You can do that with a preprocessor. Checks are really important. This increases your preservation quality a lot. It happens that you may define that every object, let's say a book, for instance, a digitized book, is going to come in a certain way. It's going to have a masters folder with TIFF files inside, and it's going to come with a PDF. But what happens if some objects are coming without some of these elements? Or what happens if one of those elements get corrupted or missing files? So probably it has already happened to you, right? So you look for an object and you see that some of the images are not there, or are in a different format, or are named in a different way. To prevent that from happening, you have the checks. You can tell the system, for every object I ingest, I would like for LIBSAFE, I would like for you, LIBSAFE, to verify that I have a master folder. And in the master folder, I have only TIFF. And the version of those TIFFs should be TIFF 6.0, and you should have no compression. And the naming schema for those files should be this one, and so on and so on. You can create many rules for that. And the system is going to verify all those objects that you are ingesting, and it is going to reject or tell you about the ones that are not aligned to your policy. Here you have the characterizers. We have Droid and Siegfried out of the box. For the content you usually manage, Droid works really well. And you have the format validation too. So for instance, you can tell the system, yeah, every JPEG for this with these pronoun IDs that I ingest, validated with BAPEGI, for instance. So I can add these validation tools, and every time the system detects a JPEG with this pronoun format, is going to launch this tool to validate it. So for instance, this tool is going to detect a corrupted JPEG file, or a file with missing mandatory tags, and so on. You can also tell the system to apply some transformation to your objects. So every time you see, I don't know, a MOV video or a ProRes video, for instance, create an additional copy in MP4 or in Matroska format, or yeah, you can do this kind of format transformations during ingestion. So you configure all this policy into the system. You do this once for every content stream you would like for the system to process. And the good thing about this is that now, using this policy, you can ingest millions of objects. The system is telling me that I'm going to lose this, this preservation plan. So you would go to ingestion, you could start your ingestion process, and the system would apply all this process in parallel to all the objects you are ingesting, and really fast, and would tell you about the outcome, problems that the system is finding, things you need to solve, and so on, right? So it's going to keep everything very well organized. If the ingestion process is successful, then the object is created into the platform, and you can browse it you can create this kind of a hierarchy in which you can see your objects, or you can search by metadata. So you can search for something in your metadata. You have the advanced search, of course. If you would like to do an advanced search, you see your objects, you get to your object, and for object you can see full traceability. This object was created 5 years ago, and you can see all the details here, all the metadata, all the extended metadata, the files, formats, relations from this object to other objects, all the active preservation with all the formats, the validation results, all the statistics about it, the storage, the integrity verifications, and all the audit trail on every change. Everything you have been doing is retained here. On top of this, you have very powerful active preservation capabilities. The system is capable of telling you the objects you have at risk. So for instance, here is telling us that we have 4 WordPerfect files of this format. This is at high preservation risk. We have some Macromedia FLV, some zip files, some old Acrobat files, and so on. So it detects formats that are at risk, and is also capable of evolving them, of applying massive metadata updates, and so on. And in advanced configuration, in addition to the preservation configuration, you have all the integrity verification process. You have all your reports in which you can see graphics about ingestion processes and so on. You can get really nice reports. You have the transfer connectors that you can configure for the system to, in an automated way, get information or push information to other systems. In the preservation configuration, we have been able to see that. So everything is a plugin here. You can add your own plugins, or you can use the ones that are coming with the platform. And in system configuration, you can configure your user groups, notifications, and so on. So for instance, you can tell that this group is going to be able to access the catalog for searching, but only in this, this and this collection, for instance, right? So, and you can do that, and the system is going to allow those users to access only those preservation collections. You can also configure notifications for you to get alerted when something happens, and you can see all the logs and so on, right? So very powerful, yet very easy to use and easy to understand, and very well designed, highly capable platform. We are managing petabytes of data with in several institutions, several petabytes on each, really large collections, and we have customers ingesting 25, 30 terabytes every day in this kind of platform. Of course, you can use it for smaller collections, but the point here is that you will never face any problem with the volumes you want to preserve, or how fast the system is going to work. And we have an optional module that works with LIBSAFE Go or with LIBSAFE Advanced, which is open access. Open access is allows easy access to from the internet or from your reading room, for instance, to your to the collection you have, or the part of the collection you decide to make public. So this platform allows you to do full text search. Here we find an object that is matching in the metadata you have here, and then we have an object in which we have matches of this word I'm searching, Earth, in the text. If you click in one of them, the system is going to open a AAA-IF image viewer with all the matches it is finding and all your metadata. We are supporting linked metadata, geolocation, and so on. Or you could opt to offer your users an advanced search for researchers. This is really nice. You can tell, give me every object in which the dimensions are between in this range, for instance, or you can add multiple queries and so on. Or you could allow them to create collections. You can group your content into collections and place everything together. So you have your photographs, and then you have all your photographs and so on, or Leonardo da Vinci exhibition, and then you have a rich text page, and then you have some sub collections. You can see your objects and so on. Really good to have an impressive internet presence if you want to use for internet. You have full faceting, so any metadata field you have, you can facet it, and you can filter by any criteria. As I said, we have a AAA-IF image viewer. This is a several gigabytes image, and you can zoom and see and offer the user even the smaller texts and so on. It's very handy for maps or high resolution objects. But we have other viewers for emails, for all newspapers. We have also viewers for video format. For instance, this is a video file. So yeah, you can see we have a video here. What else we have? WARC files, in case you create web captures for your websites, which is possible using LIBSAFE. You can also replay them later. So you can see the National Library of Estonia WARC file. I can go to this snapshot, and the system is going to open this this website like it was 5 years ago, almost 5 years ago. We have also 3D viewer. So for 3D objects, in case you have some 3D objects, you can display them. And I think nothing else. Well, all the suspects you usually can expect here, audio and so on, oral history collections, this is also good, and so on. You have full OAI PMH platform under the hood. For this, you have geolocation for all your results. So what is, for instance, what is here, and you can get to your object very easily. So if you have geolocation, and you can integrate this with the look and feel of your website. So you can make it to look, it's a template base, it's multi-language, so you can have it in multiple languages, and you can integrate it with Google Analytics for statistics and so on. And of course, you can create user accounts that are going to allow you to create a policy on who is able to see what, and so on. And I think that's it for an introduction to the product and the company. Jens.
Hey, sounds good to me, Antonio. I know it's a very complex product, so breaking it down to just 20 or 30 minutes is very tough, but I think we saw a lot of things came together. So you are skipping the summary, so I think you said everything you wanted to say.
That's
or
correct.
You want to add something?
No, I think we cover everything during the presentation.
Okay, sounds good to me. So then I would say let's go to the question and answers part. To get something clear. So if you could switch one slide further, so we see the question and answers part, yes. Or you can share your screen if you want, and we can see both of us, whatever you feel more comfortable with. So yeah, we have a few questions, and I think we can make it short. I see many questions are up in the chat, so we can discuss them later. So the first question I wanted to ask you is, we have been asked about the experience with migration from any other platform to LIBSAFE. So is it something that you had experience with, and what do you say? How complicated is it, and what is it that customers have to keep in mind when they think about migration from one long-term preservation tool to LIBSAFE, for example?
Well, the first point is that it is not so complex as it seems. So we have been experiencing a large amount of customers getting out of other platforms, Rosetta, Digital, for instance, coming to LIBSAFE, and the migration from those products to LIBSAFE is almost fully automated. So you just need to redefine the metadata schema you want to use if you want to apply any change, and you just need to define your data model, and that's it. The integration is there, and it's really easy. And the same for Preservica. This is an aging product also, and we are experiencing many customers coming from those platforms, and we have developed, in this case, is a fully automated process. So you just point it to your Preservica system, and the system is going to extract every object you have, every metadata piece, and so on is going to be extracted from the platform and ingested in LIBSAFE. If you have some custom things, custom developments over Rosetta or digital, or you have something, custom, then probably you may need some services to go around it and to solve it. But in generally speaking, it's something that we have done and we have experience, and it's not so complex to do.
Okay, that's surprising to me, I have to admit. Let me ask one more question to this topic of migration. So you said you mentioned some platform that you made migrations to LIBSAFE. So I know from our project in Austria, or I think you made several experiences around the world with projects where you are in competition with several companies. Especially in the German-speaking part, we know that the Rosetta is very, very strong and in very library associations. So what is, from your perspective or from looking at your customers, what was their main reason to switch the product? Because I would estimate it's a big decision to make. Not maybe because of prices or of the efforts, but just you invest the time in such a product and then you decide to go to another one. So what was the reason for this client that you mentioned?
Well, I would say that every customer is different, but if you look closely, you see several things happening there. The first one is that in the case of Rosetta, for instance, Ex-Libris has been making very few updates to the product, almost without any new functionality, because Ex-Libris is focusing in other markets, not digital preservation right now. And you can see, you just can look at the functionality you have, and then you will see that there is nothing new in the last few years. And many organizations are, this is a pain. While they say other organizations with other digital preservation platforms with way more features available to simplify the process, to do better things, and to do their work in a more efficient way. I would say this is a very good reason for them to consider change, because it's like using a very, very old car. So it may work, but you don't have airbag, for instance, or you don't have a safety belt. It's this kind of change. So they see, the car still works, and I have been investing a lot of money on it, but I don't have airbag on it. So there are reasons related to that to change. And the second largest, I would say, is the operational cost. Those companies are raising their support prices because until recently they have no competition. There are many Rosetta deployments out there because for a long time they have been the only option in the market to do preservation, and because they created the first commercial preservation platform 30 years ago. But they are charging more and more on support. Every new feature, every new upgrade, and so on is more and more expensive. And this is also driving customers to use other, I would say, not more affordable, but less. So with less operational, with a lower operational cost. So it's not everything about the cost of the license and so on. It's about the operational cost. With a platform like LIBSAFE, you can do 10 times more, or it goes 5 times faster. Those numbers are numbers I am not. So they are not based on nothing scientific, but you can experience that working a few minutes with one platform and the other, especially for the ones that have been working for a long time with these older platforms.
Okay. Another question that we got also in the last year through all the events. We're focusing a lot of technical topics, and many people want to know from the perspective, let's say, of a specialist that you are in the field of long-term preservation. From your personal view, what is, let's say, let's call it the next big thing in long-term preservation? That's the the newest feature you were working on, or let's say overall in the market? What is the biggest adventure, the biggest feature, the biggest task you see in the next months or maybe years on this field?
This is a very good question and also complex because yeah, so probably this is going to depend on the kind of institution you are, what is going to be more relevant for you. We see two strong topics that we are also working, and we are actively working on them. The first one is digital preservation is a complex thing, so you need to pay attention to a lot of things, and you have complex things, formats, metadata structures, and so on. So making complex things easier is one of them, and for that you have several areas you can work in. For instance, we're very active on two of them. The first one is the user experience. So how the user understands your system and how is able to use it. And the second one, which is having way more resources into research on our company, is the assistive artificial intelligence, the neural networks, basically. We have a lot of this technology in the product. You can't see them because when it works really well is when you don't see it working, but we have a lot on automated classification, on problematic file format detection, on encryption, for instance. It sounds simple how to detect if a file is password protected. It is not simple at all. It has been an unsolved problem for many years. You can detect for some of formats, but how to detect on any format? And for instance, we have a component that looks at the entropy of the file, a neural network basically, and classifies them, detecting with an accuracy of 99.68, I think, is or 96. So I don't remember exactly the name, but over 99% any encrypted file in any format using this technology. So making complex things easier, I would say, is one of them by the use of artificial intelligence technology. One thing we learn about that is that this artificial intelligence needs to be assisting the user. On the early days of this technology, we tried to make everything automated, but by this technology, and this failed on every single case because the human can't be replaced. So this is not for us the thinking shift from human versus machine or human versus software to human versus human plus software, right? So this is this is how we look at it, and this is why we call it assistive artificial intelligence. So it gives you the thoughts, it gives you the analysis, but it allows you to understand what is happening and finally decide what you want to do. The second big topic, I would say, is the cloud. The cloud is bringing several innovations. The first one is related to the storage, of course. The storage, that the cost of the storage you can get now in the cloud for cold storage, you can't get it anywhere else. So it's the cheapest possible way to store content. And if you combine several providers, and we do when using our products, and you keep one cold copy in Amazon and one cold copy in Google, for instance, or in your data center, in your preferred supplier for cloud storage, you have very low costs for those storage, while you get an impressive quality and risk reduction and so on. This is one of them. And the second one related to the cloud is the serverless approach. So it happens in digital preservation that you may be using your computing power less than your whole computing power less than 2% of the time in a year. So 98% of the time, the servers are doing nothing. And if you are in a traditional on-prem approach, you are paying for those servers every day, even if you are using just the 2% of them every day. And this is not happening the same with the cloud, which usually allows organizations that embrace the cloud to achieve massive savings over the long term. And we are embracing and improving both technologies. For instance, we are about to publish now research on how to apply non-linear integrity hashing to the content that works extremely well and was an unsolved problem when working with the cloud storage. It's also really good for the environment, because all these servers are not wasting energy, basically, right? So while you are not using them, and at the same time, when you need processing power, we have done some configurations in some customers approaching migrations in which we have been able to work with 1,500 servers at the same time, working in the same process, right? So it converted a process that usually would take a few months in a process that took a few hours. And so embracing this, I would say, is something that is going to change the preservation landscape as we understand it. So automation, removing complexity, making complex things easier, and the cloud, I would say, that are by far the most disruptive technology we are facing and the most disruptive changes that we're going to see in the following years.
That's very interesting, especially when you talk about the cloud, because from my perception, I think the cloud is already there, and you say it's the next big thing. So it will be very interesting to see what is still to come. Okay, let's take one more question before we wrap this up, I would say. So on your slides, you showed in the beginning, you showed several research institutions that you're working with, and several projects and fundings, etc. And let's say from one company to another, you're doing a lot of the research work in your research network with a lot of partners, instead of, let's say, spending the time to develop software or to win more customers. So where do you see the benefits, and why it is so important for you, for LIBNOVA, to do this?
It's a very good question. So I would say that it all depends where you are looking at. Probably in the IT field, in the traditional IT field, you are looking at this year revenue. You are looking at next year business. In the preservation field, we are looking at 10, 15 years in the future. We are not looking at the next year. We need to remain sustainable, and we need to be there for the customers we are working with for, as I said, 15 years in the future. And this completely changes your approach. The short term is not important at all. The long term is what is important to you. And to be there for the long term, you need to do all this research, and you can't research alone. So today, so I remember the early days of this company, of LIBNOVA, when we looked at our competitors. We look at Rosetta, for instance, and we learn from there how to do things, how they approach to the problem, and so on. But in the last few years, our platforms have advanced a lot, and we can't still look at our competitors, because in every possible factor you look at, our solutions are far superior, or almost any facet, not all of them, but almost any facet you look at those at our products. So we can't look at them for innovation. So where is the only place you can look at is organizations, how other organizations approach to this. This may be your customer, or this may be your research partner with the CERN, with MBEL or DESI. We are basically understanding their needs for preservation. So we are working with multi-petabyte data sets and helping them to preserve them. And this is the way we understand what are other customers' needs and what are the areas in which we should be working for the future, for our customers to have everything they are going to have, they're going to need to have in advance.
Okay, yeah, sounds logical to me. So yeah, I still have some questions here, but I think we are in a good, we should wrap it up here to not extend the time frame a lot. So yeah, thanks a lot to you and also to Maria for your time here. And yeah, we have the second webinar also. So everybody who's interested to get more feedback about long-term preservation or more information, check out the other webinar. And yeah, we will collect all the questions. We'll answer each and every question we get. And feel free afterwards, if you have any more questions or need any more information, let us know. I think we are all here for you. So yeah, thanks again to Madrid for your time, and I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone, for being with us today, and thank you, Jens, for organizing this.
You're welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.